Hello everyone, thank you for coming back to my channel for another video. Today I'll be discussing how to best prepare yourself for a job interview. This video is branching off of a previous video I made titled How to Be a Better Public Speaker. My goal for this video is to give you a model that can be depended upon when you've got a job interview looming over the horizon, and maybe it's a high stakes career, or maybe it's a job at a local restaurant. Regardless of the circumstances or the stakes, this is a model that I've used myself. It's worked well for me, and it's a method I try to explain and get across to my students when I teach. Let's dive in. So anytime we're going into a professional environment where we have to perform a job interview, for example, we're relying on our public speaking abilities. In the previous video, the one I mentioned earlier, I emphasized the importance of identifying your why when thinking about how to most effectively draw upon your ability to communicate. Now here, our why is pretty straightforward. We want to communicate as effectively and efficiently as we possibly can because our goal is to get this job. We want to better ourselves and provide for our families. We want to build a better tomorrow for ourselves and the people we love. Or, if the stakes aren't that high, maybe we just want some spending money while we're at college or in high school. Whatever the case may be, whatever our goal is, we need to take job interviews seriously. We need to treat them as potential life-changing opportunities, even when they don't seem important, because if we're goal-oriented, willing to work hard, and have a long-term mindset, job opportunities can compound and help us achieve our goal of creating a better tomorrow for ourselves and the people we love. Okay, so we have our why. Now, how can we increase the probability that we can achieve our goal and lock a job down? And this, my friends, is where the how comes in. This is where the writing comes in. We can use writing to familiarize ourselves with the fast approaching scenario. Or maybe put more simply, we can use writing as a tool to imagine the job interview and our desired outcome as vividly as we can possibly manage. So again, maybe this is a big job. Maybe if we don't get this job, we're gonna have, no savings and nowhere to go. But maybe, again, things aren't that serious. And hopefully they're not. But regardless of the stakes, maybe our mindset is that, failure is not an option so long as we can help it. If the job means enough to you, you're going to prepare yourself properly. If you want it badly enough, you'll be willing to write, several pages worth of imaginary scenarios for a job interview that won't last longer than maybe a half an hour. And I'm not saying that, putting in that work is fun or glamorous, because it isn't. It's hard work. Preparing is hard. But the fact that it's hard, at least in this case, is enough to deter a lot of people from sitting in a chair with a pencil and a piece of paper and familiarizing themselves with potential interview-related scenarios. So with that being said, let's get more specific. What are we writing about? We're writing about what we expect the job interview to look like, and then we're addressing those expectations by using detailed writing to break down a kind of a low resolution abstraction, or what is initially a low resolution abstraction, into its simplest parts. Basically what that means is that we're creating miniature plans, meaning answers to potential questions, and using the written word to construct a high resolution image of what we expect the event to look like. The best first step, in my opinion, is to just sit down, focus, and ask yourself, what sort of questions do I expect to be asked during this interview? And a lot of times the answer to that is going to depend on, what the specific job is, and that's why it's so important to really focus. If nothing else, the boss or the manager or whoever will probably ask, why should we hire you? What are your greatest strengths? What are your weaknesses? How do you deal with pressure or stressful situations? Are you planning on having children? What motivates you? Questions like this. You'll be asked questions that you could literally spend hours talking about and unpacking and just driveling on about. But the reality is you're not going to talk for hours, because you've got a matter of seconds to formulate a meaningful and impactful answer. And this is why preparation is so important, because if you prepare yourself ahead of time, you're not going to spew nonsense. You're not going to, embarrass yourself. If you use writing to prepare, instead of driveling on about peripherally relevant details, when the time comes, you'll have answers that are so well rehearsed and focused that they become unique answers. Unique answers that stand out in an application pool full of people who might be just as qualified, if not more qualified than you, but who did not prepare as carefully or as well as you did. That's the power of speaking, of clearly articulating yourself. And writing is the best way that you can practice clearly articulating yourself. It's the best way to prepare for a potential job interview. So do some hunting. Google job interview questions and slap the search button, and then just start writing your answers to the questions that you find. And when you're done writing, reread your answers, work back through them. This is an old idea. It's not mine. Believe me, I wish writing down possible scenarios was my idea and then I could just slap a trademark on it and move on, but that's not the case. What I'm trying to communicate is a timeless strategy that I believe many young people, for whatever reason, aren't told by the people whose job it is to teach them. And that infuriates me because, using writing to prepare for a high stakes scenario is so simple. And maybe most importantly, it's free. But to this point, we've pretty much been talking exclusively about, high stakes scenarios. So let's take a step back, because maybe, you don't have some huge job on the line. Again, maybe we're just talking about something small, a first job or a job for spending money. And if that's the case, what can we do? And honestly, my advice is just to do the same thing I outlined for the high stakes circumstances, because here's the thing. The lower the stakes, the less likely you are to be in competition with people who are willing to go to the ends of the earth to see that they get that one available job opening instead of you. So sure, lower stakes. Maybe that makes you less motivated to prepare, and that's fine. By not preparing, you're only putting yourself in a worse position. The point that I'm really trying to make is that preparation for a job interview can make you more likely to get that job, yes, but beyond that, it can help you to develop an incredibly useful skill that you can have at your disposal when eventually the stakes are high, because someday they're going to be. So prepare, search out potential questions and write down the answers and reread them, work through every detail you possibly can. Be truthful when you write, and keep in mind who you're going to be speaking to. Visualize the events as vividly as you possibly can. Be honest, but remember the circumstances. Be genuine, but keep away from potential boundaries. And it's important to say at this point that if taken too far, preparation can be a bad thing. It can be something that works against you. And I made a video a while back about the potential downsides of preparing to speak publicly, which I think relates to this video pretty well. So I'll attach the link in the description, and I suggest you check it out. But for now, I'm all out of things to say. In the near future, I'll release a video outlining a specific writing method that I use, and one that my girlfriend, who graduated from a nationally ranked business program and is currently working for a multi-billion-dollar international corporation, something she learned during her time in university. It's simple and easy to remember, and when I do end up releasing the video, I'll link it in the description and add it to the job interview playlist. So I want to thank everyone for watching. I want to thank my awesome editors, Bach and Joey. I appreciate you guys. And if you found this video helpful or interesting, I ask that you please like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.